Alright, guys, we're back for round 21's review for Supercoach 2023. There's only two rounds left, so really at the end here. I'll go back to this screen. 24-14, the score. Made a huge mistake, which probably cost me around about 80 points, I want to say, around about. Did still go up in rank, but I mean, it should have been a huge score this week. And we'll get into stuff like day costs and everything like that, but yeah, this was a good week to go up in rank, especially at the end of the season. Probably could have pushed maybe 2,500, maybe even lower than that. But yeah, so we'll just get into the big error I made. I thought I could be smart and like do this half-time loop type of thing, and it just didn't work. So I completely forgot that I'm going to be working Saturday, so I'm not going to have my phone with me the whole time. And I just didn't. When I looked at merit, score wasn't that good. By the time I did get to it, obviously, game was locked, and he was scoring pretty well. And we're not going to talk about the Essendon game because that was a robbery. So Tom Stewart, 134. He was really good for the Cats, I thought, especially in the fourth. He got away with a fair bit, I thought, but a couple of like key intercepts and stuff like that. He was pretty big, and it took a lot of big plays from him for them to actually hold on at the end. And Dawson, man, what happened here? Who did they play? Gold Coast, wasn't it? So I feel like this wasn't a bad pick. It didn't work. Yeah, I didn't even get to watch this game because I was watching the other one. And yeah, just tough. Thought it would be like a 120, something like that. I mean, I already had missed Bont, but I thought that this game was a bit too like something's gonna happen here. Like Bont scores just 100 or something like that. Turned out, yeah, I should have actually went with Bont. I did go to that one on Friday night. It's pretty boring. Let's be honest here. It was a 50-something point blowout for like most of the game. So yeah, just wasn't too fun. Day costs. Now, this is heartbreaking. I've seen a lot of people like on the platform formerly known as Twitter, just like parading this, like, yeah, Dacos is injured, now Bont wins the Brownlow, that's what you get, Collingwood in the mud, like, he's still a second year player, he's probably the best 20-year-old we've seen in like, some people say ever, I want to say since like, say, Gary Ablett or something like that. I think Ablett is still the best player I've ever watched. But Dacos in his second year, that's the thing, right? People forget that. So he looks like he's out 6 weeks. I think that's what they've said is 6. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being like, he's back for first week of finals, miracle recovery. But by then, Supercoach is finished anyway. So if you've got a spare trade, you trade him. If you do have that spare trade, you got to get Sicily. You got to get Sinclair if you don't have him. I mean, Sinclair's actually fallen off a little bit. We'll just like go into it like real quickly. Guys, obviously if you have Sicily, you'd go for him. Ryan, I wouldn't touch. I know his average is super high. I think if you go like it's one of these like 5-round average, something like that, he ends up like top 5. I still wouldn't touch him. Just me, I really don't like the way Freo set up behind the ball. I think that this score really needs Freo to play terrible, and the opponent to like dominate them all game long for the ball to be around Ryan. Houston's a weird one. He never looks bad. Like you watch games and he always looks solid, but then he doesn't score. Sinclair is one I'd get. Doherty I'd like. In order, I'd probably go like Sicily, Doherty. Yeah, Carlton's run a form, so I'd go Sicily, Doherty, Sinclair. And then, if you haven't got that much money in the bank and you're looking for a straight swap, probably Dale. Dale's looked good last 2. Redmond, if you think Essendon are back. Hayden Young in the midfield did impress me yesterday. But, yeah, I don't know. Not a lot here. You really are just taking a shot in the dark. Zeebler I wouldn't touch. Yeah, you really want to get up to Sicily. And if you've got Sicily, then you go with one of the other two. But yeah, it sucks what's happened to Dacos, because no matter what team you play for, he's one of the more fun players to watch. So when they get injured, it's bad for the game. Will Day, I thought was pretty good for the Hawks. The Hawks were up. No, they did win, didn't they? They beat Collingwood. Yeah. I thought Day was a bit better than the 98. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I think he was. I think he got scaled down. I think he was at like 103, and he got scaled down. But yeah, I thought Day was good. He's definitely came on the second half of the year. This Hawthorn midfield really does look. It looks good. Is it a premiership contending midfield? I don't think so. Granted, most of these guys are still like first, second, third year. I'd like to see where they're at in like maybe their fifth year, sixth year, something like that. That's where you really start to see what a player is, instead of what they're like building towards. But yeah, I thought Dale was fine. Bailey Dale was, I thought, pretty good. Having Ed Richards back does hamper his scoring, right? Like, this is a known fact. But Marvel Stadium is the Dogs' ground. Like, they build their game around Marvel. It's like forward momentum, but go back to go forward if you need to. And that go back to go forward is what Dale kind of plays on. Because someone will take a mark, Dale will come streaming through, he'll get the handball, and then get an inside 50 off of that. And Dale's just one of like the best kicks in football. Like, his motion doesn't look the best, but the accuracy on him is like picture perfect. Himmelberg with one of his better games, and a 91 being your better game is quite sad. This is a never again pick. He would have to be like, what was he this time? Because I want to say like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even touch him for that. He'd have to be under 350 for me to think about it. Yeah, I think under 350, think about it as a 23rd. But yeah, never again on this type of pick. Just not good enough in his moving around to the ball. So he has signed his extension. GWS got what they wanted. He signed his extension. So now I'm worried about, are they going to be done with this kind of trying to please him? From what I've heard, he likes playing defense, but I think they need him as a forward. Granted, they've been winning these games and they came close to beating Sydney, but I think they need that kind of aerial threat forward, which is what Himmelberg gives you. So, I don't know. Could they move him forward? I think now it's more of a game plan thing. I don't think they'd ever team sheet name him forward. But say someone goes down. I wouldn't say Toby, but like Jesse Hogan or something. I don't even know if Jesse Hogan's still playing. I'm going to be honest with you. But say someone in their forward line goes down, I could definitely see them subbing in a defender and then moving Himmelberg forward. I could see that now because he's already got his extension, right? Midfield. So big scores pretty much. Bont 153. I was on the train on the way to the game saying, yeah, you know what, I should VC Bont here. I do see a 130 here. I really should VC him. And then, like, as I'm sitting in the seat waiting for the first bounce, I switch it to Merritt. And then I don't even take Merritt, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This sucked. This could have been a huge score this week if I just wasn't stupid. Because this was the smart play to go with Bont. Because he'll either give you a huge score or a score that you can say, all right, I'll gamble, right? Like, if you gave me a 115, all right, I'll gamble on someone, right? And it'd probably beat Merritt. I probably would have went Bont into Merritt. Petrarca was good. Big comeback. I mean, big comeback against North. But, you know, they came back all the same in Tassie. So, you know, Melbourne look all right. They are kind of hitting their form towards finals. Interesting to see what happens once Oliver comes back, to see if there's any, like, rotations people have to make. I know a lot of this video is me talking about, like, actual football, but the fantasy season's pretty much done, let's be honest. Yeah, Melbourne look good. I don't think Brodie Grundy's coming back this year, 'cause why would you bring him back in a finals game? Someone that's not built to play forward. you're going to bring in as a forward in the most important games of the year. Not something I would do, and I don't think it's something any coach would do. So I think Grundy's pretty much done for the year. Interesting to see where he goes in the off season. Could be like a ruck to Smoky option. Maybe. I think his best days are far behind him. Laird 93. Yeah, I mean, I should go back and see like clips of the Gold Coast game, see what they were doing. So it looks like they iced out most of Adelaide's midfield. But Adelaide still won, so I'd like to see what happened there. Dunkley Neil was terrible. I thought Brisbane deserved a loss there. If they're not like the worst top four team, they are very, very close to it. Like they have to be the worst. If you're a Lions fan, you have no faith in this team going into finals. They have to show you like who do they have? They have to have yeah. I mean Adelaide at the Gabba. That's not like a statement game, even if they win by 50. Who else have we got? All right, here we are. Brisbane, Collingwood, Marvel. They have to win this convincingly for their fans to have hope. Come finals, they have to win that pretty convincingly, and then also not look bad against St Kilda. If they look bad in any of those games, then I mean everyone's writing them off for finals, right? Like everyone's going to. They're I say they're the worst perennial top four team in the league. Like the team that always ends up with a top four spot, always disappointing. They never come good in finals. Um, that's how I see him anyway. Merritt, he was huge, man. Like the Eagles just couldn't do anything to stop him, especially in clutch time. It felt like he had the ball every time. He was laying good tackles and everything. So yeah, it felt like he had it the whole game. Brayshaw, so outside of normal scores and rank and stuff like that, I would have won my league matchup if I think it was Sturt didn't play on and gave Brayshaw a shot at goal, which he probably would have made. I don't know. Yeah, I wish he didn't play on. Yeah, Neil spoke about it. These two were just terrible on the day. Shaw Freer were doing some interesting stuff with Hayden Young in the midfield and Sarong kind of playing tagger, sort of, but like loose tagger. Yeah, I thought they were both terrible on the day. Not even like average. I thought they were bad on the day. Did take Mill's score. Looping with Chincotta, saw that Mill's score and just decided to take that. 97. I mean, Mills is another one, unless he's super cheap. Like 300. Okay, 400k, I'd probably do it again. Because he can be a high 500k midfielder. But, I mean, some of these games are bad, man. He was playing in the back line, then I saw him move up forward. He was playing like half forward. Yeah, I mean, just he's been used as a utility player for Sydney. And Longmire's utility players are the worst players in Supercoach. So probably never again. English, Marshall, both were all right. I thought English would have been better considering they had Nank and Soldo. I think that's what they were running with. Soldo is actually not too bad a like stopper in terms of Supercoach points. He's pretty good at like icing a ruckman out. And I'm just imagining that's what he did here with Timmy. And then Marshall, I mean he probably won around the ground, but Saints just fell apart at halftime. They had 51 tackles in the first half, which I mean Carlton wouldn't let you forget. 51 tackles in the first half, and then their pressure dropped off by like 100 points in the second half. So yeah, huge fall off, and I reckon that's what stopped him from going huge. Forward line, Goulden has been great. I think he's someone that you got to think about next year, depending on price. Currently, he's at 600. If he started next year at 600, and he won't because he's got a 110 average. What would he? He'd have to somehow drop price. If he can have a bad first couple of games, like if say he puts up this stretch, he has a bad first couple, then I could see him being like the first trade in. But he's not going to have forward. He's only going to be a midfielder. perhaps a chance that he works into defense. So I've seen him throwing him behind the ball a bit, but I think that's just swinging a midfielder instead of actually playing as a defender. But yeah, Goulden's pretty good. He's pretty good. Rosie Butters, Rosie kind of, I feel like he was kind of lucky to get 99, but then at the same time, I think it was just inaccurate kicks. A lot of tackles, 8 tackles. Was that 2 frees against and a behind? If he probably had that as a goal, he'd probably be looking in the 110s. And then Butters was huge. I thought Butters was like the game winner for Port if they actually did get across the line. He does the same thing every week, puts his body on the line for everything. Typically, you hate that in Supercoach. You kind of hate those like put your body on the line type of players because they will get injured. Butter's been able to skate through it this year, and it's been pretty good to watch. I mean, more than pretty good. I think he's very, very good to watch. But yeah, Cogs was all right. I didn't see anything spectacular from him. Even though GWS game came close, I don't think it was really on Cogs. I think this was like a lazy just 100 score. And that's just because he gets all the CBAs, right? So heaps of opportunities to get the ball. Look at it, kick merchant style, so probably pretty inaccurate because that's normal Cogs. I haven't seen accuracy stats this week, but yeah, I don't know. Cog's going to be a weird one going forward. I don't think I'd ever bother with him again. Because now he's just going to be a pure midfielder, and there's just so many better options. He'd have to be super cheap, and I don't see it happening. Like, 101 average, I don't know what that puts you at. I think that puts you at close to, like, between 500 and 550. Somewhere in that range, say, like, 525. And I don't think I'd bother with that. I think I'd just go with an extra premium or an extra rookie. Taranto has been in this slump for a fair minute now. He's dropped to 500k. Still basically a 110 average because he had a huge stretch. I mean, I expected the Dogs game to be alright for him. The North one should be a big score. Saints possibly. I mean, they could send like a Windhager or something to him. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. The Saints have to work something out this week. And then Keys, I think, kicked a goal or two, didn't he? I think he had a goal. And that's what saved. Yeah, he had a goal and behind. What's that, like 17 touches? And, I mean, handful of tackles. Yeah, I don't know. Keys probably never again as well. Unless he gets the midfield. In the midfield, I keep saying that he's a genuinely good, like, unironically good midfielder. He's solid. You know, you put him on any team, and that team can contend, not off of him, but off of him not being bad. Yeah, as for Dacos cover, obviously no trades, so I will be fielding Chincotta for the season. We'll see how that goes. It's a shame, man. I thought I was working good towards rank. It's no point in looping with Johnson, is there? But whatever, I'll try it. When did Freo play? Freo probably play late because it's the Derby, right? Yeah, Saturday versus Sydney on Saturday afternoon. Maybe I'll try it. It depends on team sheets. If Johnson's named, then I'll give it a shot because they had a defender go down. Joel Hamling, I think, went down, so maybe they'll play him. I mean, he wouldn't play as a defender, but they'd move Hayden Young back, and then Johnson would have the midfield spot. Yeah, that's pretty much how we rolled this week in terms of captaincy. Wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole. Merritt, I feel like, is in huge form, so you have to think about that game. Dunkley wouldn't be the worst here. And then maybe Bont, but I mean, if Finn McGuinness isn't named, don't touch this game. Don't do it. Finn McGuinness is a bit too good, so I wouldn't touch that one. Carlton Melbourne, maybe I'll just chuck on Petraka. Go like that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let me know how your weeks went, how your seasons are ending up, if you're able to trade Dacos or not. But yeah, I'll see you all next time. Tasty out.